we were texting about Ben Roethlisberger and kind of putting his career in perspective. So I wanted to let you.
Because we already know he's a Hall of Famer. Yeah, I mean we know that, but I think the thing that kind of set me off was I think it was it last. It was last weekend, because last weekend was his last home game in Pittsburgh. So Colin was talking about it on the show on like the Monday or the Tuesday, and he was basically saying that Roethlisberger left a lot on the table. Which, first of all, let me just point something out, and this is one thing I don't understand how this happens. Colin's got like a team that helps him come up with topics for the show and like organize stuff. How does Colin go on the air and say Roethlisberger has one Super Bowl? He's got two. Okay, that's kind of a massive oversight. And also, I don't care what sports, the talking heads say. Making a Super Bowl appearance also counts. He's been in 3 Super Bowls. Okay, and by the way, the 3rd Super Bowl that he lost, if Rashard Mendenhall didn't fumble the ball, he might have 3 rings right now. Okay. So that kind of annoyed me, and I was like, I don't really think he left he left a lot of meat on the bone. I don't think he really left a lot on the table. So I started, I went back, I went on YouTube, which is great that we have the advantage of this now, and I watched some older games with Roethlisberger, and then I looked up a lot of his stats. He's going to finish with, he'll be behind Dan Marino, but by like 3 touchdown passes. Okay, so Marino finished his career with like 420 touchdown passes, which I know now, Brady's got like, what does he have, like 600 or something?
I think 700.
Including playoffs, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So obviously that record's been obliterated, but it's still, to throw over 400 touchdown passes is still amazing. Okay. So he has that in terms of yards, in terms of wins. I forget what the wins, it was like 164 wins or something like that. He's never had a losing record. And then also, I think you also got to look at what is, when you're rating somebody, what were they at their peak, and maybe this wasn't his peak, but I mean, his second year in the league, he's in the playoffs. They have the road game against the Colts that they won. Remember that? They got up like 21-3. Okay, now I watched the 3rd drive. They ran the ball a bunch. The first 2 drives, Roethlisberger was in the shotgun, receivers spread out, and just throwing darts all over the field and getting them up 14-3 on the Colts, who were really good that year. Okay, that one, he's had some really good games against the Ravens in the playoffs. Obviously, he had the 2-minute drive against the Cardinals in that Super Bowl that they won. Trying to think of what else. And I watched some highlights of, I think it was 2016 when he was playing the Patriots in the AFC Championship. Now, he lost to the Patriots in the playoffs multiple times. Yeah, so did everybody else. I'm not going to hold that against him. So I watched the first half of against the Patriots, and Roethlisberger was really good. He's not the reason they were behind. It's just the Steelers had trouble stopping the Patriots because the Steelers defense, they play a certain defense that Brady just carves up, so I don't know what you're supposed to do there, but Roethlisberger was on the money. He was making a bunch of throws. He had some drops. He had some other mistakes by some other people. Their running game wasn't as good. Oh, yeah. Le'Veon Bell got hurt. He got a groin injury at the beginning of the game. So he was out, so he didn't have his best running back. Okay. And he still made the game competitive. It could have been more competitive if, some other things had gone his way, but like, just different things like that. And I'm like, this dude, and I'm looking at his numbers, I'm looking at his wins, I'm looking at different things. I'm like, you could legitimately make a case that this guy's top 10 all time. Maybe number 10, or maybe you'd say top 15 all the time or something like that. But I feel like you'd be hard pressed to name, 15 quarterbacks better than him, or even 12 quarterbacks better than him, and he's also got, he's 3rd all time in 4th quarter comebacks. He's got like 40 of them. Actually, wait a minute. 40, you probably count Sunday as 41 because he was behind in that game. So, and that's comebacks aren't obviously the only thing, but that is like a really good metric to look at, because if you look at who else has all these comeback wins, it's, some of the greatest of all time. And that's also, if you're behind, it's on you as the quarterback to bring the team back. So the fact that you've done that 41 times is amazing. So yeah, like I said, I think you could legitimately make a case he's top 10, top 15 all time. So what Colin's saying about he left a lot on there, no, he didn't. He never got an MVP, but he had some really good years. I mean, not winning an MVP is kind of, your timing could be like, for instance, Drew Brees probably should have won an MVP, but his timing was bad. He had some good years while other guys had, slightly better years. So.
Right. Yeah. I think it's, it's a short, I think I sent you the list of guys that have 2 Super Bowls, and it's like 6 guys or 8 guys.
Yep.
It's, the difference between having 1 Super Bowl and, 2 is it's a huge gap. So yeah, I think, okay, depending on what your standard is, okay, so Ben Roethlisberger isn't the greatest of all time. So what?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what more he left on the bone. And Colin's argument about, well, he didn't take care of himself well enough. This thing about fitness and nutrition and all this is about 10 years old.
Yeah.
Like in 2006, nobody was talking about that.
Yep.
Okay. So, it's like, all right, yeah, maybe his career would have lasted longer. Maybe. But he was big. He took a lot of hits. Okay. Yeah. Because of his size, he ended up taking a lot of hits. And as you know, when you watch Shaq in the NBA, he took a lot more punishment because he was bigger than everybody else.
Yep.
That's the way that works. So, yeah, I think it's
the way he played the pump fake that he would do, the one-handed pump fake was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay. And then just his and you can say that he, I think as his career went on, he got better at playing within a structure of an offense, but his best stuff was holding onto the ball, waiting, trying to make stuff happen, shrugging guys off of him and chucking the ball way down the field. I mean, and he was, I mean, you could probably say he's one of the best we've ever seen at doing that, or probably maybe one of the only ones. Cause you don't have, it's only in recent history that we've got these guys that are ginormous athletes playing quarterback,
Yeah, and listen, most guys don't get everything you would want in a career. Okay. Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl. Steve Young won 1. Aaron Rodgers has 1. Brett Favre has 1. It's ridiculous to hold, especially when you're holding a quarterback accountable for team goals. It's like,
yeah, I mean, you guys are acting. I mean, it's, you got. It's like Damian Lillard said a couple of weeks ago, about acting like you got to win a championship as if it's not the hardest thing you have to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just that kind of annoy. I mean, you could point to anybody's career and go, and if you actually look into the details, you can go, well, if this thing worked out differently, maybe he'd have more championships, or maybe he would have won this one. But if this thing worked out differently this way, he might not have won this championship. So,
Yeah. All right. So, great career, Ben Roethlisberger. He'll be wearing a gold jacket someday.
In 5 years. You think he's first ballot? I mean, I don't see any way you couldn't put him in first ballot. Well,
the NFL's Hall of Fame's kind of tough. So sometimes you have to wait a little bit.
Wait, but he'll get in.